What's a secret you'll never tell your significant other? I believe in witchcraft more than I let on. Not the dark shit, and I don't practice, but I believe there's merit to it. Like if there's smoke, there's fire. Little things like a cinnamon stick above the door and setting good intentions as I walk under it, and salt to break negative energy. He grew up Catholic and isn't practicing, but I think it can be hard to accept something like witchcraft when you grew up in a strict religion. I don't think he would freak out, but I think he thinks it's goofy, so I keep it to myself. BC, it's not serious. That I definitely have an evil eye for protection. In money, he's realizing he wasted a decade of marriage trying to get a six-pack and blowing company funds on his joke Kickstarters. Having lunch with influencers aka hot girls he wanted in college. I told him for years our expenses will grow and he should focus on work. And all he'd say is, no, we'll just cut back. I'm tired of being the sensible one. It's draining. That I would love to use my comeback skills for evil and absolutely bulldoze his entitled, useless BTCH of a brother. He's the kind of brat whose stupidity is celebrated. Reese from Malcolm kinda stupid, and I hate his guts for using my BF as a doormat. I'm normally well adjusted, but I can't cope when the people I love won't respond to being taken advantage of. I would have done something very petty and mean a long time ago. Please someone tell me I'm not alone in this. Ha ha ha. That I am getting annoyed with her family always coming in over our apartment without letting us know beforehand. That I needed my own space, which her family is always disrespecting. She just can't say no to them and is ruining us in the process. We can't even sleep in our own bedroom because that is where they are sleeping whenever they come over. I have tried multiple times to set boundaries, but guess what? It just keeps happening. I'm getting tired of this situation. Sigh. How hard it is to listen and keep track when she solely keeps talking for 30 minutes and jumps from subject to subject. Tell me a story about her day. But she constantly jumps into different subjects and unrelated backstories about other PPL that I don't even really know, that sometimes she even forgets the main story. I love to watch her talk, but my mind can't keep up with the constant branching and jumping in her stories. I was and still am in love with my best friend forever before my partner and I met, and my friend had feelings for me back. I ruined the one chance I had at being with my best friend because I was lonely, and I regret it every single day. The worst part is, my partner is probably the best person I've ever dated, and all in all I feel awful because I have such deep feelings for someone else. When we first met he made me promise, if I ever gain too much weight you have to tell me to hit the gym. We laughed about it, but that was almost 5 years ago. And now he has gotten pretty overweight, and I don't know if I'm supposed to keep my promise or just let him choose his own path with his weight. I'm still attracted to him and love him more than ever, but I want him to be healthy. I had lunch with his ex around the time we started dating, and they had been broken up for a year. She reached out to me on my work email and wanted to have a little chat. We went out to lunch. She seemed nice and deeply hurt because he had moved on. Still seemed to care about him. We never spoke after that day, and I've never mentioned this in our 16 years of marriage. I love her and her family and am so grateful they have accepted me into their lives. But I don't like interacting between multiple people at once. On one convocation with every one of her family members, from her youngest sister to her parents. I think I could make much stronger relationships with these people, but when it's all at once it's hard. There are 2 lies I tell consistently, and dating. 1 My salary to my body count. Hate that term. I know people will understand what I mean. Even the most self-assured men still get hung up on these things. So I ask them, I decide on my answer. If it was someone I was going to consider for a long-term relationship, I'd be honest with them. I know that he was getting inappropriate messages from his ex as I saw them on his Facebook Messenger history. We were already married. They were all screenshotted and sent to my mother's laptop for safekeeping. He hasn't talked to her since. I think he knows that I know. And if he knows better, he will keep his mouth shut because I have so many receipts. That I consciously keep a few secrets, primarily because I wanted just few things just for myself. For example, was watching Palm Royal, 35 years ago fucked a guy in a Palm Beach mansion. Years before we met. Still remember the royal blue lacquered wood floor of his bedroom. LOL. Almost shared the story. Then decided, nah, that's for me only. That I know he prefers a bald trucy. But I like it hairy and I'ma make him eat it anyway. He knows I hate shaving it bald. And he knows that being eaten out is my favorite thing. He's a good partner and still eats me like it's his last supper. So I really have no complaints. Plus I reciprocate in more ways than one. Enthusiastically. How challenging it is to navigate through their depressive episodes. Some days I'm so exhausted from picking up the slack and taking care of the kids and working. It's hard to find compassion. I know he didn't choose this. Some days are just harder than other, and today was one of those days. I love you more than you'll ever know. That about 15 years ago. I seriously considered suicide. We were having a bad time. And I was in a mentally very bad place. She knew I was depressed, and I got therapy and medical help. I'm fine now. But I never actually told her how bad it was at its worst. And I'm definitely not going to burden her with that now. I'm not sure we'll stay together once the kids are gone. We don't really enjoy doing the same things and he doesn't like people. Right now we have a symbiotic relationship where he does all the money making and I do everything else, but once the kids are out of the house, I'll get a job and then ... That her mom grabbed my cock in the kitchen at dinner a couple weeks ago. She's recently widowed and I guess she needed something. I asked her what she was doing and she just smiled. We haven't been back to the farm since, but it's going to be awkward. Especially if her and I are alone again. I have a fear of commitment that runs deeper than they know. I love them and see a future together. But sometimes the thought of being so intertwined with someone else's life terrifies me. I work through these feelings privately because I don't want to hurt them or make them doubt my love. That when we first started dating 1-2 months and I ran into my ex at a bar and fucked him. Wasn't worth it and I basically threw up mid-fuck. Not sure if it was the alcohol or just revulsion I felt. I know we weren't serious or official at the time, but I still feel a bit of guilt. Probably that I had an STD years ago. But it was easily cured and just frankly stressful enough for me without having to hear his 2 cents on top. Plus, I'd why anyone would speak about sexual past to their partner unless it was still relevant in some way. Seems disrespectful. I don't quite understand her. I don't know if it's because of the long distance, us being awkward, anxious beans or whatever, but there's always this few of you have weird quirks. And I'm also incredibly terrified of disappointing her, so it causes me to people please. That I dated her half-sister in HS names. And it was separated by 10 years and never got serious enough to meet parents. And by the time I met them with the current GF it seemed best not to bring it up. And her sister feels the same way. Don't have a partner but I do have a FWB. I'm gay. He's bi. The secret is my best friend told me that he thinks my FWB secretly likes me in a more than just FWB way. If true it's mutual. But he hasn't worked up the courage to date me yet. It's a long story. A lot of things like how bad my depression really is. I feel bad because I never really open up to him about it, but he would worry about me and pity me if I told him how bad it truly is. He'd tiptoe around me and my feelings and I don't want that. I love him more than anything, but every time I see another man I just think what it would be like to fuck them. Basically fuck and bail and never see that person again. It's the same with women too. I'd if this is normal. But my god do I hate it. I secretly dislike their cooking. They put so much effort into it. And I can see how proud they are of their dishes. I just don't have the heart to tell them that I'm not a fan, so I eat it with a smile and always thank them for the effort. I like older women. As she thinks she needs to look younger. The older she gets, the more attracted I am of her. I tell her that all the time, but for some reason she doesn't think so. I guess it's just what society expects of her. I love them. A ton. But it really hurts how they don't seem to be putting in effort. It hurts they can't do simple stuff for me. But they would do anything for anyone else. They know this. They know I feel lonely. But it's okay. I occasionally take a day off work to have some time to myself. I love them dearly. But I cherish having the apartment to myself. Watching what I want on TV. And just enjoying the solitude. It's my secret mental health day. I still have a box of mementos from a past relationship. It's not that I have feelings for my ex. But those memories are a part of my life story. I don't think they'd understand, so I keep it tucked away out of sight. That my vasectomy failed, and that's why I pull out. I know it's a terrible birth control. But we are old and the chances to have children are low. New free vasectomy is scheduled for next week. Can't wait. I occasionally smoke a cigarette when I'm really stressed. They think I quit years ago. And I mostly did. But there are moments when I slip up. I know they'd be disappointed. So I keep it under wraps. That I am with her and not her family. Her mom moved in with us and it's been hell. As soon as college is done we are moving where my job is and her mom will have to find her own place funded by her. I like the crispy fries at the bottom of the French fry box. If I told him I liked the crispies, he'd make me keep them all till he's so cute when he's excited to get the crispy fries. I gave up on a job contractual opportunity. It would have been very, very financially beneficial, but it was against my principles, and I would have never been able to live with myself after that.